Good morning. Our first issue is notice to the former CS of West Bengal. Central government under section 51B of Disaster Management Act has given a notice to the former CS saying that he has contravened or he has not complied with the provisions of this particular act. Central government, state government or any government can issue directions during the disasters, crisis periods like these. And if someone is not obeying, and that is punishable with imprisonment of 2 years or fine or both. But there is one exception to this, that is, without any reasonable cause and lawful cause, if they are not complying, then only this particular provision applies. If there is any reasonable clause, this section won't apply. Now, recently, under NDMA, National Disaster Management Authority, which is headed by Prime Minister, they have conducted a meeting. For that particular meeting, West Bengal CM and CS, they didn't attend. That has led to this conflict. Now, this person has retired and he is appointed as chief advisor to the government of West Bengal. This issue is in news in the last few days. We need to follow it up. We need to add up all the things. Next issue is India's quarter 4 growth 2020-21. For that year, quarter 4 growth is positive plus 1.6 percentage. Overall GDP of 2020 and 2021 is minus 7.3, that is, it's negative. It's one of the lowest recorded GDP in the last 40 years. In India, official GDP growth rates are released by NSO, National Statistics Office, under Ministry of Program, Statistics and Implementation. Whenever we read about growth rates, there are few terms that we need to know. These are called as fundamentals of economy. One is GDP per capita. GDP per capita, though it's increasing, its growth rate is very slow. Recently, Bangladesh has moved forward in GDP per capita as compared to India. Inflation rates are higher. Unemployment rate is worst in the last 45 years. Fiscal deficit is increasing. With regard to rupee versus dollar, rupee value is depreciating. Private consumption expenditure, which is one of the important factors for the demand revival, it is very slow. Based on these factors, we can say along with the growth rate, other economic indicators are weaker. So it's the time for the government to take urgent measures like fiscal stimulus, proactive immunization of the people, universal immunization of people. All these things needs to be taken care to increase the growth rates and to revive other economic indicators. Next issue is China's three-child policy. China, in order to control the population, has adopted one-child policy in 1979. Forceful abortions. This has made forceful abortions and other coercive measures by China. This has made it to control the population, but then it has led to demographic skewedness, that is gender skewedness. Aging population is increasing now. That's why in the last few years it has changed this policy few times. In 2015, it has approved for two-child policy. In 2020, it has recorded the lowest birth rate since 1960s. That's why this year Chinese government has adopted three-child policy. This can be considered as one of the examples for failure of state-led demographic interventions. This has led to aging population because replacement level of fertility is not there. Two people are replaced with one person. That leads to aging population. Aging population has become a biggest problem. Population in developing countries like China, India, population in developed countries in Japan, some of the European countries, they show a different trend. Bulge in the middle population, we call it as bulge in the middle population, wherein the young population slowly reduces, aging population increases. That's called bulge in the middle population pyramid. In India also, we need to focus on population stabilization rather than population control. Population explosion needs to be controlled, but then population stabilization should be our goal. Replacement level of fertility should be achieved. We should not strictly follow China's model. Next issue is child labor and India's policies and measures regarding child labor. Under Article 24 of Indian Constitution, child labor is prohibited. According to Census 2011, 10 million people, 10 million children aged 5 to 14 are working in one or other industries. Child labor leads to a vicious cycle of poverty, unemployment, low wages. This again leads to poverty, unemployment and low wages. To address this child labor issue, government has taken certain measures like MGNREGS, which enhances the incomes of the parents, midday meal scheme, which encourages the children to go to the school and which enhances the nutritional levels among the children. RTE Act to provide compulsory universal education, and then Pencil Portal of Ministry of Labour, ratification of ILO's conventions to address child labor in India. Some of these are measures. And this year, 2021, is declared as International Year for the Elimination of Child Labor. In the context of COVID-19, this issue of child labor needs to be addressed furthermore because it has affected the incomes of many families. Many children are put out of the school and schools are not functioning properly. In this regard, child labor and related issues needs to be taken care of seriously. Next issue is COVID-19 crisis and transparency. For many of the RTA requests, government is replying that data is not available. This issue is not a public information. Like this, in many of the RTA queries, government is replying, and this is indicative of lack of transparency. Supreme Court, with regard to COVID-19 issues, it has clearly mentioned that Section 4 and Section 7 of RTA Act provides for proactive disclosure of information by the government. Supreme Court said government should follow this. Amartya Sen, in his book Poverty and Famines, has written that more transparency in the post-colonial time, not just in India, in many countries, that has reduced famines, that is severe hunger and related deaths. Same thing applies to COVID-19 also. During this crisis period, transparency reduces the morbidities. Transparency increases and enhances the trust on the vaccines and the government. Next issue is economic revival. Monetary policy is not effective during this period because inflation is high and then growth is low. If through monetary policy, if RBI intervenes, it enhances or it increases the inflation. Price stabilization is one of the goals of RBI, so it can't do that. And already growth rates are very less. So if it reduces the interest rate much lower, yes, it enhances the growth, but it negatively affects the price stabilization. That's why during recession periods and during very less economic growth periods, monetary policy is less effective. If we observe, in the last few months, RBI has taken many measures, but they have not resulted in stabilization of economy. So the way forward is fiscal stimulus, enhancing the demand of the people through fiscal stimulus. It should focus on employment generation. Rapid vaccination to revive the economy should be the way forward. Next issue is H10N3. This is the bird flu strain. Recently, the first human infection from this particular bird flu strain is reported in China. There are many strains, more than 40, that are present among the birds, but only few jump from the birds to humans. And Chinese administration says that this H10N3 is less infectious. There are very few chances it can become the epidemic. Next issue is PMI, Purchasers Managers Index. Recently, Purchasers Managers Index has shown the stagnation in terms of manufacturing. IHS Market provides this particular index. It covers only manufacturing and it surveys major public sector companies only. It only provides formal sector data. It doesn't consider the informal sector. PMI, as it shows this stagnation in the next coming month, it means economy is going to be stagnant. Thank you. All the best.